And I have the honor of presenting two amazing women, Jillian Manus and Dr. Geeta Gupta-Fisker. Give you a little background about Jillian. She's an executive, an entrepreneur, and passionate advocate for diversity and inclusion, and an investor. So she's managing partner of an early stage venture fund here in Silicon Valley called Structure Capital, focused on zero waste economy and on underutilized assets and excess capacity. What I really love about Jillian is her approach to investing. So she really focuses on values, not valuations. And I think that speaks volumes about who she is. She believes that leaders that build their companies upon a foundation of values navigate challenges better. Her mantra is, it's rarely products that fail, most always people. And that's very true. A fun fact, Jillian describes herself as being about tech and tequila, a walking tequila encyclopedia. And in case you're wondering, she's invested in tequila too. And that's all exciting. It's very exciting. I also have the great pleasure of welcoming Dr. Geeta Gupta-Fisker, co-founder, president, and CFO at Fisker Inc., an advanced e-mobility and automotive tech company. She's eminently accomplished with a PhD in biotechnology from Cambridge. She's a deal maker, a serial entrepreneur, and a trailblazer. A woman from humble beginnings in India, she's led a most interesting and varied career journey from biotech to banking and finance. Through her careers, she's overcome all manners of bias, gender, race, and age. Today, she actively supports people in persisting and overcoming their challenges. At Fisker Inc., she's the analytic left brain, while her business partner and husband is the creative right brain. It's a unique partnership, perhaps singular in the automotive world. Together, their journey has been believing in themselves and about making the impossible possible. And we can certainly appreciate that here at TiEcon. So with that, I give you a front row seat into an incredible conversation with two incredible women. Jillian, floor is all yours.
I welcome everybody from 100 countries. I know today we're all very excited about what we're learning at this conference, but we're also, all of our hearts are a little bit heavy in regards to what is happening in India. And I just wanted to talk to Geeta just briefly about what she's doing, because my philosophy has always been that if we're nobody's safe if everybody can't be safe. And so I know that Gita is working, and she's a lovely philanthropist as well as a brilliant businesswoman. Gita, thought your work is important to you on both sides, correct?
Correct, Jillian. Jillian, I'm deeply saddened, in fact, shocked and horrified with the healthcare crisis in India because of COVID. We would have never thought that oxygen would become a precious commodity. We have people who don't have oxygen to breathe. I have partnered with a phenomenal charity called Pratham in India. I've known them for a long time. It's a very credible charity, largest education charity in India. They have made a mission to support COVID-stricken patients. We are doing currently a fundraise to buy oxygen concentrators. India needs 200,000 concentrators so we can get oxygen to patients. Please go to prathamusa.org/Geeta Fisker. Donate $100, donate $200, whatever you can, so we can buy these concentrators in the month of May and get support to these people. They need them. We can do this together. We need to do this together. We will beat COVID together.
Absolutely. Could you just spell it? It's called
PRATHAMUSA.org/GEETAFISKER.
I think perhaps we can probably list that on the site as well for the conference. I think this is incredibly important, and I will go to there and I will donate $1,000 to this fund. And thank you for bringing it to our attention. If we all have to breathe together, right? We all need oxygen. We all need a heart. And so Gita, I have heard a lot about you before we had the opportunity to meet through this conference. And all I kept hearing was, okay, this woman is fearless. She's undaunted. She's slightly invincible. She is singularly confident and you surround yourself with confident people. And that's really first and foremost in a lot of ways of how you have triumphed over a lot of adversity in your life. But you single confidence out, and I'd love to start there as we discuss the bigger picture of how to succeed in business and in life.
Jillian, confidence to me is fundamentally a belief in yourself, a belief that anything is possible, a belief that you're not going to give up. And how do you get that confidence? How do you get that belief? Well, first, you have to start by researching your idea. Have diligence, due diligence, be a master of your subject matter. Let people know you know what you're talking about. When you have that, you believe in yourself. Number 3, you have perseverance. When you go on a roadshow, when you go talk to people, you try hiring people, you try to sell your idea, you're going to get a lot of no's. And if you give into the no's and give up, that is not perseverance. Every single day you're out there, believe in yourself, keep refining, persevere. And then finally, when you're on this road, you got to excite people. You got to sell your idea. You got to tell people what unique things you're doing. You're going to take people on a journey, whether it's your employees, your partners, your suppliers, your investors. Take people. I make this mistake a lot where I run sometimes too fast. I don't take people on the road. You got to take a step back. Take people on the road with you. But I want to highlight something. We shouldn't mistake confidence with arrogance, and we shouldn't mistake confidence with laziness or latency. Confidence comes from deep learning, knowing your subject matter, really showing you know what you're talking about. And that's what confidence is all about.
100%.
Now, Jillian, you asked a separate question. You said, surround yourself with confident people. And that's what I mean. Bring like-minded people together, people who understand what you're doing, people who can challenge you, but can go with you.
Yeah, I think you brought up 2 really important points. First of all, from an investor's point of view, we look and we invest in the person first, and then we invest in the product. So if we don't see that confidence, not cockiness, right? Not arrogance. If we don't see the confidence there, then how do we know that that person is going to be able to instill confidence in other people, in their teams, right? And so I think that this is a critical piece. You said not to take no for an answer. And I've heard you before talk about how getting no's from the wrong people. And I always thought that was very compelling. Can you talk a little bit about what that means?
Well, there is nothing called a definitive no in life. I see no as a suspended state of mind. It might be in your mind. It might be in the minds of people you're trying to hire. It might be in the minds of your investors. But it's a suspended state of mind where you've hit a roadblock, you've hit a speed bump, you've just hit a point where you're not progressing. What it means is you take a breather, you take a step back, you look at what you're selling, you look at your idea, you refine it. And what you may need to do is take a U-turn, take a right turn, take a left turn, but don't give up the final destination, because you may have to find the right people. You may have to change courses, but critical, 2 things that are critical. It's not the one yes that defines you. It's the 99 no's that defines you, because they help you refine your idea. What's important? We learn from these, we refine our idea, we pick ourselves up, and we march forwards.
Yeah. I always say a no is a pause, right? It's not a red light. It's a pause. It's pause, go deep, come back, repitch, reposition. Absolutely. I love that. So you have definitely heard some no's in your life. And I really have found it fascinating how you talked about your art of negotiating and how it started by a milk bartering, correct, when you were a child. And then from that point on, you really started to learn about how to not just negotiate, but your parents truly said, listen, you need to not just be good, you need to be extraordinary in order to make it. And I'd love to learn a little bit about your childhood, because I think that would help all of us. And I know we all draw from our childhoods things that our parents said or potentially maybe did not say that fueled us in life. Talk about the milk parting, because I love that story.
You know, when you grow up in a country of over 1 billion people, what you don't have is a plan B and the ability to fail. There is only one plan, and you got to make it succeed. And in order to make that succeed, you cannot be incremental. You have to be extraordinary. And that's just how you grow up. And what I call that, and I think a lot of people know, it's called the Indian hustle. So when I was growing up, it wasn't uncommon for me to go with my mother to the vegetable market, and she would go to the same vegetable vendor every single day, and she'd buy tomatoes, and she'd ask him the price every single day, and she would find a way to negotiate. And she would gather information, and whether it's milk or it's tomatoes, and that's how I grew up. I grew up questioning, gathering information. My father did the same thing. So it was just normal that you question, you learn, you ask, you negotiate. Now, what I managed to do in my adult professional life is find a fine balance. At what point do you stop negotiating? At what point do you make a win-win? At what point do you give in? And when do you feel your partner that it's a win-win deal for both parties? So I think where my tenacity comes in is growing up in a country like India, never giving up, but at the same time, finding solutions to get through the hustle.
Yeah, I think that I also know that when you're growing up with a country that has such concentration of people, you really have to be extraordinary. You have to, right? You have to rise above. And I think that you've done that, you know, tenfold, running circles around me for sure, and pretty much all others. You have built this company with your husband, Fisker. You know, you've had a very interesting journey, and you've hit some roadblocks, some walls, but you've never let them stop you. You've sort of climbed over them, under them, around them, and actually, for some people, I think you've climbed. You know, you've actually marched through the walls. So now you stand here, and the big question is, why will Fisker win the category of electric vehicles? Why now?
Jillian, that's a big question. We could do another debate on that, but let me address that. Let me address that in two ways. Well, let's first talk about electric vehicles and automotive industry, and then I'll address why Fisker will win this category. So over 100 years ago, we went from the horse as our normal means of transport to the internal combustion engine. And of course, Henry Ford made it possible for every man to have a car through mass manufacturing. And we still called it the engine horsepower. Today, we are going from internal combustion engine to electrification. We are using batteries to propel, and we are going from horsepower to kilowatt hour. And this is a big disruption in the industry. It changes the way legacy car companies are used to doing things. There's a parallel disruption that's going on. It's called digitization of the car. No different to how you guys are running the conference today. The automobile is getting digitized. We're adding more compute. We're adding more technology. There are things today that we can do that give a seamless experience to the customer, whether it's autonomous systems, it's drive assist, over-the-air updates, it's about predictive maintenance. We can introduce technology that gives a great seamless experience. Now, legacy OEMs, they're used to vertical integration. What does that mean? That means legacy OEMs used to make the engine in-house. They focused on how do we make the seat perfect? How do we make the stamping perfect? All those things have gone away. The future of the car is about batteries. It's about drive units. It's about this seamless customer experience. How can the customer access their car just like you do your cell phone? Now, let me answer the second question. Why is Fisker positioned to win electric vehicles? Well, first and foremost, we're a brand that's synonymous with premium electric vehicles. Building a brand in this high barrier to entry industry is extremely hard. Number two, we are number one in design. There is no other car company that produces better looking cars than Fisker. And we've shown it in the past. Henrik comes with a great reputation as a legendary designer. Number three, we've done it before. We were first. We launched the world's first premium luxury hybrid car, Fisker Karma, way before anybody else, even 1 year ahead of Tesla Model S. That took a lot of learning. It took taking risk. It took failing. And we learned what to do and what not to do. So we take those learnings and we apply them 10 years later with a very mature supply chain for batteries, drive units, compute, everything else. So we have a supply chain that's available to us. We take all of that and we launch a very disruptive asset-light business model because we don't want to build our factories. We want to partner with the best of the best, like Magna International, like Foxconn, who know how to build things. They know supply chain, they know volume, they know processes. So we do what we're best at. We're best at design, we're best at product. We know where not to take risk, where to take risk. And then finally, I talked about customer experience. We sell direct to our customers. Our customers can access through the app, through our website. It's a connected car. We are able to give our customers unique features because we build our software stack on top of existing technology that's coming from phenomenal partners. So all these different attributes are positioning Fisker to win in this EV race. I can tell you how much de-risking we have done in this capital-intensive industry, Jillian. This is not for the faint-hearted. This industry is so complex, it's so difficult that you have to go in with lessons learned.
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, I'm quite positive that nobody realized, or not nobody, but many people forgot that you were before Tesla, that you came out and you really were the pioneers in this space. And because of that, the historical perspective, you, as you said, you know where the risk is, you know how big it is, you know how to navigate that, you know these challenges, and yet you have overcome these challenges. And for all the entrepreneurs listening, this is very valuable that you never gave up. In fact, like you said, you've learned from every single one of these mistakes. And I'm sure you've had a lot of naysayers along the way, right? But failure didn't stop you. Failure fueled you, correct?
Well, it depends on how do you define failure. Edison said, it's not the 10,000 times I've failed. It's I've figured out 10,000 ways in which something doesn't work. So failure is a very subjective word, right, Jillian? Yes. So the way I look at failure, you take risk, you try innovation, it doesn't work. But what's really critical, you've taken your experience. Failure is, by the way, experience. You've taken that experience to refine your idea. You de-risk the idea and you innovate in ways where you can progress further. But what's really important is fail first, fail fast. We did that 10 years ago. We failed first, we failed fast. So we come back in Fisker Inc. stronger. We come back with a refined idea. We come back with a refined product. We come back even more disruptive. So really, really critical. Fail first, fail fast, tune your gut feel to figure out when do you need to move on.
Yes. I'm hoping everybody is listening to this because we're all so terrified of failing, right? And we're feeling that if we fail on one company, an investor won't invest in us ever again. And that's just not true. I actually look for entrepreneurs that have failed. And then I say to them, what do you take away from that? Because those are the people who I know have, as you coming back, the confidence to fail. There is a confidence that to fail. And I think that you exemplify that. But once again, it depends on how you define failure. I have, you talk a lot about these partnerships, about the relationships. And by the way, let me just go back one thing. First of all, I've signed up for a Fisker. I put in my credit card. I thought it was great because it really connected me to this brand. I think you've really branded this so deeply. And I just want to touch upon that a little bit, because people don't understand that I always say, if you can't say it, you can't sell it. If you cannot explain your brand and what's the differentiator, if you can't explain the guts and the power and the strength of a brand that people emotionally connect to right away, then you're not going to have the longevity. You're not going to have the stickiness. You're not going to have the trust. So can you talk a little bit about the brand of Fisker? Because it's when people say Fisker, you know it and you think innovation right away.
Jillian, it's a little bit of a cliche about what's the brand, right? What's the mission and vision? Yeah. So we truly have a real vision. The vision is a clean future for all. And it has become even more important in the current COVID crisis that we truly have a clean and healthy future for all. And our mission is to develop the world's most sustainable. And when you say the world's most sustainable, that means emissions, that means sustainable materials, that means cars that have a newer way of accessing. They can be accessed for long periods of time. So a flexible lease that goes beyond your traditional 3 years lease, goes to 10 years maybe. And so let me define. The mission is to develop the world's most sustainable and emotion-stirring vehicles, where you have a connection with the consumer, where it becomes your identity. And this is how you make a product exciting. This is when customers identify with a brand.
Yes. And actually, it's not even, it's customers, but we talk about the 21st century business model. And that is one that creates a return for not just shareholders, but to society. And people want to not only buy, consumers, they want to buy, they want to align with these missions, but so do workers, so do employees. People look for companies where there are leaders like you that really walk the walk and talk the talk and have been doing it for a long time, and are not just slapping on a mission and saying, we're going to be sustainable. Because this is who you are, Geeta, and this is why people love to work for you. But I also heard that you're you have high expectations and that you're very immersive in your workforce. Some might say you're tenacious. I think you called yourself that as well. But I have also heard that you extract the most out of people. You're one of those leaders that cares, but also you told me that you think that people can do more than they think they can. And I'd love to talk a little bit about that as a leader, because it's not the mission, it's the person that is fueling the mission and the team that you're able to ignite behind it.
Jillian, I would say probably use some of the other words like intense, engaged. I love attention to detail. So I drive my teams to have diligence. I love diligence. I want my people to stand behind numbers. What's the source of truth? Where did you get that quote from? Did you question it? You're making a presentation. Can you stand behind it? I want my team to be a master of their subject matter. Number two, I want them to try every day to push even harder, persevere. Be open to change. Be open to change. You know what? What I find in all the companies, we have job descriptions, right? We write about, hey, this is what you're going to do today. This is what you're going to do tomorrow. And then people progress. I like to push people beyond the job description. And I want people to step out of the comfort zone. Now, in the beginning, typically, it's really hard because nobody wants to get out of the comfort zone because you don't want to fail, right? You don't want to do things that you don't know how to do. But I have witnessed firsthand when people try things they've never tried before and they succeed at it, they feel great, they feel accomplished, they feel they've done something they never thought they could. And this is how you create successes and leaders of the future.
And this is why you're successful as a leader, because you bring out and you optimize people's potential. And that really is the sign of a good leader, is to lift everyone up. One quick last question. Okay. You once said to me, no one can shoot a moving target. And I thought to myself, she must be talking about her. Because you must be talking about yourself, about your ever evolving self. So am I correct? Because we're all at this conference because we all want to evolve. We all want to get up and learn something new every day and pass it forward. But I'm thinking you're the moving target, Gita. Am I correct?
You know, Jillian, that's a loaded question, by the way. So let's define a moving target. So what's a moving target? Moving target is somebody who truly believes in themselves. They research their idea. They are subject matter experts. When they hit a road bump, they go through it sideways, upwards, downwards. A moving target assesses risk ahead of time, knows the competition, knows how to get ahead of things in life. So that's what a moving target is. And if you keep evolving in life, nobody can take you down. It may take time, nobody can take you down. And you know what, Jillian? There's a Greek philosopher in 500 BC. In 500 BC, this Greek philosopher said, there is nothing constant than change.
And that's the perfect way to wrap this up. So I'm hoping everybody listened to that and everybody listened to all the lessons learned. Gita, you're brilliant inside and out. And I learned from this talk with you today. And I thank you very much for inspiring me and the 20,000 people who are listening all over the world. And we are all like hearts and like minds at this conference today. And thank you for exemplifying that so beautifully. So,
Jillian, thank you. I really enjoyed being here. I just want to remind everybody here, please support our fellow citizens in India. They need oxygen. prathamusa.org/Geeta Fisker. Thank you, Jillian, for your contribution. I enjoyed being here today.
My honor, my pleasure. Thank you, Gita. Oh, back over to you.
Thank you, Gita and Jillian, for such an engaging discussion. Now,